We are group number 4, and we research communication issues between roommates and how to address them. Well, first things first. Good communication is totally and completely essential to a healthy and happy living environment. Unfortunately, one of the biggest issues consistently with college students is poor communication with roommates, and it causes a lot more harm than one would think. The majority of people say that students tend not to act in conflicts, choosing to either avoid the issue or to be passive aggressive or to confide in a third party, such as another roommate, family, or separate friend.
This system of either conflict avoidance or speaking to a third party stops the students from gaining the invaluable experience and benefits of dealing with conflict on their own. When conflicts are not directly addressed, it leads to a passive-aggressive approach to the situation or a total withdrawal from the relationship. When students deal with problems just by avoiding it, they don't learn how to successfully resolve conflict in a mature way. The avoidance of the behavioral problem or issue can be as damaging to both roommates in this type of situation. Being passive-aggressive only seems to enhance feelings of animosity and resentment towards each other and never leads towards an actual solution.
Another cause of tension in the apartment is the mixture of different people coming in from different backgrounds. Roommates that come from backgrounds that encourage communication will talk their issues out with those that they've got disagreements with, and they're able to solve their problems rather than just avoiding them. Having practice with real listening and considering one another's feelings gives a real advantage when they go to deal with a communication issue between themselves and an acquaintance. Looking at the different communication styles and how all the roommates understand each other is key when seeing what the stressors on each roommate might be. The most common way to avoid or deal with tension and disputes when they occur in a roommate dynamic is honest, open communication. There's a level of trust and respect built when time and effort is put into acknowledging each other's unique views and preferences.
In the focus group that we conducted, one of the participants offered to share some of the worst experiences that she'd ever had. And in one of the cases, she had a severely passive aggressive roommate to the extent of such that it destroyed any possibility of a relationship. That roommate was not invited back to live in that house the next semester, and it ruined any possibility of communication or friendship inside of the apartment, and it ruined the relationship that could have been.
This problem of communication issues in roommate dynamics is so prevalent. It seems that there's almost no way to be sure that who you choose to live with would be a good fit. The common thought of our focus group was that as long as you were similar to a roommate, you would be able to get along and make the relationship work. That seemed like a simple fix, but what happens when your similarities are the reason you have conflict? According to one of the studies, if you are similar to the person you live with in all categories except for aggressive communication, you will get along better. That means that as long as roommates are communicating and have higher scores in other forms of communication, they will get along better and reduce the risk of conflict within the roommate dynamic. Also, people who view themselves as more similar to their roommate report higher social attraction for them. In addition to the importance of communication styles, some people think that first impressions are everything. If you meet a roommate and initially you get along, it may seem like you'll be able to avoid any trouble while you're living together. Or when you meet them and there's an immediate issue, you may think that you are just doomed to a bad roommate dynamic for the rest of your time together. Can you really make good and fair judgments?
One of the other common themes we found in our focus group was the idea of avoiding the roommate you don't get along with. In our focus group, 50% of them said that when there was conflict in their apartments, they would rather be anywhere else than at homes. This is incredibly detrimental to their academic achievements. In fact, 5.6% of people who had issues with roommates experienced lower grades on exams, received incompletes, or failed a class. That is more than the 4% who experienced the same issues with alcohol. All the members of our focus group agreed that they do better in school and in their personal life when they get along with their roommates.
The majority of the focus group agreed on a few things. First, that issues involving cleanliness, personal space, respecting the individual, and finally passive-aggressive communication bothered them the most. As far as cleanliness goes, the majority of the group mentioned issues with dishes and garbage being taken out on time. One member of our focus group shared his experience, where a roommate wouldn't use his headphones and play music or videos late at night. Instead of asking him to put on headphones, they would put a pillow over their head to try and signal it subtly. But the roommate would not always notice and keep playing the audio loud and wouldn't have fixed the problem, whereas it could have been fixed if he had spoken up.
Through all our research, we concluded that it is not about the roommates themselves, but all about how the conflict is approached. If you understand both yourself and the roommate, and good communication skills are at play, you will be better able to deal with the issues as they arise. Almost all issues in roommate dynamics can be addressed and dealt with open and honest communication, as long as the intent is to listen and fix the problem together as a unified group. These are the skills and solutions that make effective communication an option in all different types of relationships.